His own labor secretary said didn't work? I'm curious. That one? So we'll get into all of that. I want to go to the phones, though. Anna is on line 4. Thanks for calling in and for your patience.
Oh, sure. Hi, Dana.
Hey.
I'm a nurse at St. Louis University Hospital, so this is all a little bit closer to home. But the union came in about a month ago. We have the NNOC the CNA trying to represent the nurses, and the SEIU is there trying to unionize the support staff. So I don't really know much about what the SEIU is doing. But I was on vacation when it all started, and I got back and thought, oh, it won't be that big of a deal. And got to work and was like, oh, yes, it is a very big deal. They were given their neutrality agreement was signed. They were given all this access to the hospital, with the hospital administration having very little say, actually no say. They can't say anything.
Right.
So there's no second side to the story. So I started doing my research. I was like, I'm not going to put any information out until I have some facts behind me. So I've contacted nurses from Houston and California that have all been unionized by this particular union, and most of them Tenet hospitals as well, because Tenet is our parent company. I wanted it to be as similar as I could, get out as much information of, this is what they said they would get, this is what they got, that kind of information.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, as soon as I started putting out information, then the vote was set, and the vote is set for Thursday. And so I decided I wanted to do like a meeting and just get people together and answer questions and brainstorm, and just things that we could do. So I set up a conference room, was approved for a conference room for tonight. I was going to have actually via GoToMeeting.com have some nurses from these other hospitals there to answer questions also. I just thought that would be beneficial. Yeah. And that has been shut down.
What?
The union got wind of it. And
wait a minute. How did the union shut down? You're an employee there having a meeting at your workplace. How did a union that has no representation there shut you down?
They said that because the hospital gave me the meeting place and because I asked for a projector, that the hospital was assisting me, and that was going against the neutrality agreement that was signed, which, by the way, none of the administration has seen. Only Tenet Corporate signed this. And this happened to us because they came here because nurses in their other contracts, this was part of the negotiation that the CNA used to get into other hospitals at these, so other hospitals negotiated this into their contract for us.
Wow.
Nobody from our hospital called them.
Wow. That's so there's no meeting now. That's crazy.
Well, I'm trying to fight it. There's a lawyer who is very familiar with all of this that I had been in contact before, and I could file an unlawful unfair labor practice lawsuit, but he said with the election being so close, it probably wouldn't matter because Obama is running the NLRB right now, and that's who decides if there's any issues with our election.
Nice.
So I'm trying to show that other nurses at other hospitals fought for the right to be able to have a conference room. Right. And I tried to tell my hospital administration that, but they're so unsure, they're so afraid of the union that they went ahead and said, okay, we're not going to let them do this on our property. So they're trying to, it's tonight. I don't have time to get the word out to say, hey, we're going to meet at Starbucks down the street.
Yes, you can. We can do it right now. What are the details? We'll get it out right now.
Well, I need another room to set up. It's been suggested to me that I could go to the nursing school across the street. My only concern with that is that nurses that are currently working, nursing is so different than other fields. We don't shut down. There's nurses that are working during this meeting that could have just popped in, for a few minutes.
Right.
And I wanted them to be able to do that. And some nurses, when I was handing out the information, said, hey, what if we're working? And I'm like, I'll do my best to get a transcript of it to you. If you have any questions, just let me know. But it's the whole thing has just made our whole workplace just kind of miserable. I floated the other day, and the whole unit was for the union.
Wow.
And as soon as they found out that I wasn't, they wouldn't help me. So, and they told me that they've been throwing everything I put out away because they thought it was the administration doing it. And I was like, no,
yeah.
I'm like, what? I don't have millions of dollars backing me like they do. I don't have these beautiful brochures. I don't have food to give everybody,
You're one woman who is against a machine.
Right.
Wow. But you know what, though? I'm still really inspired by the fact that you're fighting it. That's what I find inspiring. I'm trying to think because I want to be able to help you get the word out. Is there?
Okay.
Are you still having your meeting tonight, or are you thinking of rescheduling it? Or
well, the vote is on Thursday.
Okay.
So I really don't have much time. And the lawyer that I spoke with said that the chance of getting it delayed because of this are slim.
So you're not. So you all aren't even allowed as employees to gather together and decide whether or not you want to join this because the union shut that down.
Yeah, they shut down. I mean, if you mention the union to any of our bosses and you know the people that we respect, that we work for, they say, I can't say anything. I can't say a word. They can't even defend themselves, or say how it's going to affect us, or how it's going to affect the job, or how long it's going to take for it even to go into effect. It's probably going to be more than 2 years before we ever get a contract. But I don't. The union's not telling people that.
Right. Yeah,
so,
I'm trying to. Oh, someone says that they have a place where you can go for a meeting room. What I'm going to do, Anna, I'm going to have you hang on the line. Will you hang on for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, hang on just a moment, and I'm going to get Pat on. Pat, good afternoon to you. Can you help out in any way?
Well, my thought is, if there's a public library close by, it's like $15 for a meeting room, or most restaurants will give you a meeting room if part of your people buy food.
Right. Okay, excellent.
So,
that's a good idea, too. That's a very, very good idea. Pat, I appreciate you calling in with that. This is what I'm going to do. Ann, are you still there?
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm going to put you on hold, and I'm going to have Liz get your phone number and your information, and we're going to see if within this hour we can get you set up with a room and get it ready to go so that we can get the word out before the show ends. Is that cool?
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Of course. Thank you. And I'm going to put you on hold. And the Anna folks they've been through this as well. They got right to work, though. But Robin has also been through what Anna is going through now. Robin, thanks for calling in.
Hi. Greetings to everyone there. Thanks for being a voice for us. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course.
Just to quote Yogi Bear, I feel like I just turned on the radio and heard this snippet, and I thought it's deja vu all over again. I've been a nurse for about 31 years, and I went through this at DePaul as well as St. John's, and these people don't fool around. They sent people to our homes to get us to sign, paperwork prior to the election. These people normal people don't act like this. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And DePaul actually defeated it, but St. John's, it was SEIU, and St. John's, they actually got in. Well, within a year or two, they ended up strong arm. The St. John's was actually able to get them out, but it almost took an act of God.
Wow.
And, the nurses just realized they weren't getting, they promise you things that they can't deliver. Like, yes, your patient to nurse ratio is going to go down. They have no control over that. So I applaud Anna, and I just want to encourage her to move forward and do whatever she has to do to keep them from getting their foot in the door, because it is a cancer. It will grow, and these people they don't think like we do. They aren't messing around.
Yeah, yeah, that's and Robin, I appreciate that perspective on that, and I appreciate you calling in, and hopefully, and I love it that Anna is very much a fighter. So I'm going to put this call out to everyone in the St. Louis audience. If you have a meeting room, or if you know, or you can help out with something, I know a lot of people called in about the St. Louis County Library. I think Anna's checking into that. But if you have any ideas, or if you have a room to offer, let me know. 866-455-9797. I know my friend Tim Surdike down at Surdike Harley has